So what have you learned so far?
About Sheikh Jarrah or about...
Sheikh Jarrah.
Well, it seems like there's been somewhat of a contention over the land since 56 or 54. And UNRWA set up all these houses with the Jordanian authorities, but then people have been having a legal battle over it, and they kicked the family out and literally moved another family directly in. So, I mean...
Is that the family
that lives in the street? Yeah.
Oh.
8 families got kicked from the home.
Salam alaikum. I thought they spoke Arabic.
But I'd recommend...
Do you know the history, what happened like 100 years ago?
Well, I know what happened in 48, but the people who were... Apparently, the people from here, Sheikh Jarrah, had been living in... were refugees from Haifa, Jaffa, other places. And they came here and... 52? Oh. They came here and then built homes on the land that was empty with the Jordanian authorities. And
empty land? It didn't belong to anybody?
No.
Okay, so I know a little bit of the background. That's not correct.
Well, they have,
as far as I know, which the Israeli Supreme Court ratified, this property, this whole area, was purchased by Jews in 1875. And they still have the document. It was ratified by the Supreme Court in Israel. And so what happened was that it was owned by Jews since 1875.
Nasser also has documents that he said he has from the Ottoman Empire that was before that.
So what they did...
That was like 110 years ago,
so
right?
let me explain to you. Actually, I've seen that document. It's dated back to 1897. And the Israeli courts did a forensic test on that document. It came back forged, completely forged. And that's one of the reasons why they lost to the Supreme Court, because the document was proven to be... It was aged. And it was aged like 10 years ago instead of 100 years ago. And so the actual history, as far as I know, in this place is that it belonged to Jews since 1875. And in 1948, in the War of Independence, the Jordanians evicted the Jews from this neighborhood. And the Jordanians controlled this area between 1948 and 1967. In 1967, you had and during that period, that's when they brought the Arabs to live in this neighborhood, which was originally owned.
In 67?
In 48, when the Jordanians conquered the West Bank and East Jerusalem in the War of Independence.
Right.
Jordanians annexed this area illegally. It was never recognized by anybody in the whole world except Pakistan, not the United Nations and not any Arab country. No Arab country recognized Jordanians' annexation of East Jerusalem and the West Bank.
Right.
And during that period of time, that's when the Jordanians brought families to live on this property, which was Jewish owned.
Well,
let me just finish the story, and then I'm happy to hear. I just want you to get another side. That's all, right? Which is actually the fact.
If you want to sit down for an interview, that'd be great. Got a camera pointed in my face, and I'm usually one with the camera.
So let me just finish the story. So what happened
Please.
was in 1967, when Jerusalem was liberated in the war of the 6-Day War. So. They started making attempts to reclaim properties that had been squatted on by Arabs during that period of time. And this particular property was never confiscated by the Jordanian government. The Jordanian government nationalized properties over the 19 years that belonged to them. This particular property was never nationalized. The Jordanian government themselves recognized the Jewish ownership. And it belonged to a part of the Jordanian government which was known as enemy land. Right? And when the 67 war happened, the land actually returned back to the ownership, because it came back to Israeli sovereignty of the original Jewish owners. And a process began, which took 50 years, 60 years nearly, to reclaim those lands back to the Jewish owners.
I have a question now.
Can I answer it? My name is Muhammad.
Nice to meet you. I'm fine.
Nice to meet you. The case of our neighborhood is a historical case, and the land here it was rented by Israelis for 140 years.
I think that's not true.
I'll correct you.
I've seen the documents. The Supreme Court of Israel, who cannot be accused of being right-wing. In fact, they're very left-wing. If they verified that this neighborhood is owned by Jews and not rented, I think that's pretty factual.
Let me answer you.
Okay.
Question.
Okay.
Our lawyer succeeded to go to Turkey to look for the documents of this land, of this piece of land, he found 12 documents prove that this land is for Palestinian family. And let me continue. And he looked also for the document what their lawyer have. He didn't find any origin. He found a rental document. You know, by the time they changed it from rental to property.
I'm sorry that I must disagree with you, because I know I saw myself a police report. The document that you're talking about that was presented by Mr. Hijazi, right, was proven to be forged. Do you know what forged is? Forged means
Where was it proven?
it was a forensic test that was done by the Israeli police, and it was proven to be forged,
The
right?
document that he had. And they pretend that it's false. It was just like that in his anyway.
I don't
So,
know. I know that
When he opened it, there is some letters are not clear. So he added by himself, by his hand. This is mistake.
That's not the reason. They aged.
Yeah.
They aged the paper. You know what aged means? It means they did a chemical test to test how old the document was.
140 years.
And it was not. It was about 10. It was about 5 or 7 years old when they tested it.
No.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Now, where do you get your evidence from?
That's from the Israeli police, the forensic
Well,
department of the Israeli
well, they
police.
can-
But did the Supreme Court accept it?
The Supreme Court accepted it, and the Supreme Court
You know, there is a-
rejected the Arabs' claims of ownership, saying that they never owned this property ever.
I think
And that this property was purchased by Jews in 1875, and that was recognized by the Supreme Court in Israel. And as a result of that, the Supreme Court, again, who cannot be accused of being right-wing in Israel by any stretch of the imagination, authorized the eviction of the illegal squatters in this neighborhood. And that is why these people were evicted from their home, from the homes that they had illegally built in. They were living here illegally. They were living in Jewish-owned property. They never paid rent. They never recognized the Jewish ownership. And when the courts asked them to leave, that's when they created an international scandal about it. By the way, they were also offered compensation to leave. And they refused to receive the compensation because they wouldn't recognize the Jewish ownership.
According to the that you say that we rented. We didn't rent from the Israeli government.
No, you didn't. You
We-
refused to
we-
recognize
we
Israeli
did-
sovereignty.
We don't recognize the Israeli government.
That's correct.
In 1967, and we used to pay rent for Jordan, for the government who give us this land and these houses in 1956.
That's correct.
We didn't steal it. We didn't sell it.
That's correct. You never bought it. You never bought it. And I agree that the Jordanian government put you here, but they put you here during a period of time that they had illegally annexed East Jerusalem. That annexation was recognized by one country in the world, Pakistan.
let me answer you.
Are you in agreement with me? In 1950.
Let me answer you.
Do you know how many countries recognized Jordan's annexation of East Jerusalem?
One country.
In the world, in the whole world, how many countries recognize it? Pakistan, right? In other words, Jordan's occupation of East Jerusalem was illegal. So when they put families, Arab families in these properties, Jewish-owned properties, that was an illegal act.
So what about the occupation in the West Bank? I'm just wondering. That's
Well, we're
not
talking about
recognized
Sheikh
by.
Jarrah now.
that's
That,
not-
I'm
that's not
happy to
recognized
I'm
in
happy
East
to discuss
Jerusalem.
I'm happy to
Just
discuss that
wondering.
with you.
I mean, I'm also wondering
That's
what's
true.
the point of
Jordanian-
your film. I'm just
One
wondering
second.
who are you?
I'm a regular guy. We're making this man's making a book, and we
Yeah.
touring around with him. But I just
Touring
want. It's very important to. It's very good to disagree,
No, I mean.
but it's also
I'm-
no less important to make sure that you're disagreeing on the facts.
on facts.
Right. So let's establish the facts,
Okay.
and then if you disagree with me, once you understand the facts,
Yeah.
you're my brother, right? But don't replace opinions with facts.
I'm not replacing opinion. I mean,
Okay.
I've seen.
People
I've
are being
traveled
fa-
around the West Bank and
Okay.
I've seen people kicked
I
from their
don't,
homes
I don't,
here.
okay, I'm
So-
happy to see that, but let's understand why they were kicked from their homes, right? They were kicked from their homes because they were illegally living in Jewish-owned homes for 60 years. They refused to recognize the ownership. They refused to recognize Israeli sovereignty in this area. They refused to receive compensation when they were offered to leave, even though that was unwarranted.
You said,
And as a result of that, the Supreme Court eventually said, guys, you have to leave.
you said,
That's why we have no, as a Palestinian, listen,
Let me go with you.
we talk about Palestinians.
Wait,
I'm
we
not
have
a
to-
Jordanian.
we have to talk to each
We're not
other.
Listen, we're not Jordanians. I'm a Palestinian, you know.
Okay.
We have no state.
I'm a Palestinian.
We have
I'm sorry, the original Palestinians are Jews, not Arabs.
you are Palestinian.
Okay, let's understand it. Let's understand it.
okay.
Now let me ask
So
you
you are
another question.
Palestinians?
Let me ask you another question.
All right. Okay.
As you know very well that
Yes.
the Palestinian nation
Yes.
is an invention. It never existed, ever.
Really?
Correct? Can you tell me before 1964?
Yeah.
Just tell me one quote, one place in any history book. I'll give you $1,000.
Yeah, where,
Right now.
again?
What before 1964?
Yeah.
Where there's a word mentioned about the Palestinian Arab nation.
Really?
Yes, I'll
It
give you
was called-
$1,000
no, no, no.
right now.
Listen, my
Before
friend,
1964,
this
give me
land
one
is called-
sentence,
Why-
one
why-
quote,
why are you
one
shouting?
book.
Why are you shouting? Why are you
It's not
shouting?
funny.
Okay, right now. Okay, now I'm listening to
Why are
you.
you shouting?
What's so
I
funny?
want you to tell me.
No, no, but you don't give
I'm
me a
offering
chance
you
to tell me.
anybody here,
You don't give me a chance to
anybody,
tell me.
$1,000 right now. If you could show me one book,
Listen to
one
him.
article, one movie that ever mentions the Palestinian
why don't you
people,
answer his
the Arab
questions?
Palestinian people before 1964. Come on, guys. I'm offering you money.
You're a journalist.
Come up with the words. The answer is the following. By virtue of the fact that those Arabs in West Jerusalem declared war and left their homes in anticipation of the decimation of the Jewish people, they lost their rights to those homes. It's quite simple. It's written in international law and it's written in Israeli law.
like to tell you that there are plenty of international lawyers who will disagree with you completely
I'm
because
quoting,
they will say,
but you know, so
they
I don't know
will
your
say
name, but I'm quoting the president
will say
of the International Court of
you are
Justice
not
in The
quoting
Hague.
me anything.
Doc-
You're,
I can look
at
it
the
up. I
moment,
can
you're
look it up.
quoting me yourself.
Professor Stephen Schwebel. One second.
Why do you give
I,
him the phone?
I also like to use
Why
the
do
word
you give him
fascism.
this shit?
Fascism is
Go
an easy
fucking
word.
back to Brooklyn.
Oh, I like
Go
that
back
language.
to fucking Brooklyn.
Thank you, thank
You know where is your place?
Thank you.
You know exactly where you have to be.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
the fuck out
I'll
of
take
here.
that as a compliment. Thank you.
Compliment, of course, with
Ladies
your
and gentlemen,
fascism.
it's all very
With your
well to
racist
come up
behavior.
with
Go fuck
with
yourself.
phrases and
insults.
insults, right? But if you really people that are, one second, if you really
As
people,
what she said, you're exactly how you are. As what she said,
Thank you,
exactly.
I appreciate it.
Exactly.
Thank
You know, this is, you are living in
Thank you.
fake.
You know what the difference is
You
between
are
me and
living
you?
in fake.
The difference
You know
between me and
I'm a
you.
human.
You are
not.
murderers,
you don't let
thief.
him finish his
I'm a
statement.
human and you are not.
You know what the difference is between
are
you
a
and me?
fascist.
Thank
This
you.
is how you are
The difference is that you can walk around here and you know nobody's going to kill you.
No.
If I walk into this neighborhood,
you
I
see-
cannot
you see-
because
you
they're
see
going to
I
kill
go to
me.
West Jerusalem.
I have one prayer, and that is that you people,
Are you praying?
you people who are now
What a devil,
attacking
how
us,
could you
right?
pray?
One prayer.
You are a devil.
I tell you,
You are a murdering thief
all I pray,
and racist.
I have one prayer, is that you learn the facts.